Hi, welcome everybody. Again, we're very happy today we are able to actually invite Mr. Warwick again to share with us about this auction property, because through the previous videos, right, we actually learned about what is lease auction properties. Then a lot of people actually trying to call us and send us an email to ask what is auction property actually is. Then I think that will be a good chance, right, for Mr. Warwick to share with us. But before that, I think from my understanding, Mr. Warwick, for those auction property, right, actually it's called mortgage default. That means my friend told me that those property they can't afford to pay already. Then the bank actually want to take back the house, and what happens? They put it onto this the room, we call bidding rooms, something like that. I don't know whether it's correct. And we have to put something like 10% deposit or what or such. Then go inside the room and bid on the price on those property. So sometimes at the end of the day, the price itself it could be higher than the value on the market itself. So we cannot make money on that if let's say it's higher. But I think you are expert in this since you are in the auction. Why not you share with us how are we going to profit through this auction property investment?
Okay, nice to meet all of you again. Thank you, Tony, for giving me the opportunity again to share this with you. This is a very interesting topic that you're bringing up. But before I answer your question, would it be alright if I just give you an overall picture of the market?
Sure.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, technically in the Malaysian context, property is something that's very close to the heart of the Malaysian investing public, because Asians by nature believe in succession legacy, i.e. to leave something for their next of kin, so that it will provide passive income for them, and also it's one of the best hedge against inflation. Okay, so that being the case now, we will have to take you a little bit to data and statistics to give you a better picture of the entire scenario.
Okay.
So effectively in Malaysia, over the last 4 years, we have seen property transactions about 430 over town, from a high of 430 over town in the year 2011. Okay, and the transaction have been dropping. In fact, last year 2015, properties dropped to about 386,000 something. Okay, so interestingly, why this situation of auction market is arising only now at this juncture is simply because when the market was on an upbeat note, at that given point in time, the values were representative of a real market value. But after that, as everybody got excited and property started becoming investment has got many facets to it. You've got stocks and shares, you've got commodities, you've got ETFs, and all the other asset classes, so to speak. But in the Malaysian context, 48% of total loans disbursed to the broad financial sector go to property.
Yeah,
48%.
Yes.
48%. So that being the case, so as everybody was fueling this momentum, invariably without actually paying much cognizance to the equation per se, a lot of speculation also came in. In other words, there was no matching per se of real market needs. Developers were just driven sometimes purely by the profit margin. So they just kept building and building, and they got a lot of these property gurus or property pundits perpetuating the concept of good debt versus bad debt and what have you. Okay, so then a situation came where end of the day, like everything else, the financial sector is like our personal bank account. If we have 100,000 ringgit in our personal bank account, but we gear it to 92,000 ringgit, and then we have to keep aside reserve 4,000 ringgit. We are then left back with another 4,000 ringgit. Obviously, it's like a train traveling at 180 kph. Suddenly, you have to draw on the brakes and come to a screeching halt. So you tend to upset the entire equilibrium. So this has, as earlier on we shared in our earlier presentations, that this property business is very similarly the stock market, similarly business cycles, as we shared this theory of the 7 to 9 years thing. So we have now reached a juncture where officially, so this is the important factor of why auctions are now coming up in a big way. what's happening is, so i.e. we will use the benchmark of 400,000 transactions a year.
Okay.
Yes, of course, in 2015-386 on the high, but I just used as a median.
Yeah. Okay.
So banks officially the default rate is between 1.6% to 1.9%. The default rate.
Yeah.
So purely for calculation purposes,
Okay.
we will use 2%.
Oh yeah. Well.
So 2% on 400,000 transactions is actually 8,000.
Yeah. Well, it's quite
So
a lot.
effectively there are 8,000 defaults now
Oh.
at this point in time. In fact, it started sometime in August last year.
Okay.
So the papers are full of them. But again, capitalizing on this requires a little bit of skill.
Yes.
So this is where, by virtue of being in the real estate market,
Well, and we need your advice.
no
How we
worries.
going to do that?
By being in the market in the real 30 over years,
Yeah.
we have to demystify some myths about auction.
Okay.
Okay. So when round one you default, your loan value could actually have been lower than the market value, but they will have the reserve price round one will be representative of the market price,
Okay.
supported by a valuation report.
I see.
So if there are no takers simply arises in a situation like this now,
Okay.
simply because banks have initiated a lot of cooling measures.
Yeah, yeah, true. Which is good. A lot
With
of
the
good
initiation of these cooling measures,
Mhm.
the loan to value instead of 90% last time will become 70% now.
Oh, I see.
So even for a simple property transaction like 500,000,
Okay.
if you're only eligible for 70%, that means you've got to come up with 30%,
Which is quite a lot.
which is 150,000.
Yes.
And then you have not yet factored in your loan agreement, your
Yeah.
stamp duties. So, in other words, now at this juncture, if you want to actually acquire a $500,000 property, whether it is market price, below market price, you would actually have to have a substantial amount with you. Okay, but so this is one facet of auction. Okay, the second facet is auctions are happening all the while, even during good times, bad times. The default rate of any business, irrespective of whatever business you're doing, normally there will always be some provision for bad debt, some provision for default.
Okay.
So the industry average,
Yeah.
due to their stringent guidelines, whereby they themselves, or the bankers themselves, don't want to, or rather will ensure that it's not default, because they call them NPLs, non-performing loans,
Okay.
will not look good on their books also.
Okay.
So banks also will be quite stringent in their lending guidelines.
I see.
Okay. So now what happens? So where the next question you probably ask me, Mr. Tony, is with all this confusing data and statistics,
Yes.
where do the opportunities? So
Yes,
what
yes.
happens is with banks, whenever they have auctions, eventually or there's a default, they have to retire the debt. Because technically banks operate in this way, that they will have a trench of funds. Okay, so maybe the bank due to a promotion exercise with attractive FD rates or what have you, would raise maybe 200 million to 400 million. So that the value of that trench exercise, there is the cost. Because they say what interest rates is to loans is what quantum is to physics.
Okay.
So there must be a balance. So
Yes,
there's a
yes.
cost.
Yeah.
So for this particular trench, technically the bank also is a net borrower.
Okay.
Because they have to pay back the interest, right?
Yes.
So what happens during all those properties in this trench, if the first time round there are no takers, it will drop by 10%.
Or drop 10%.
Will drop by 10%.
Okay. Yeah.
Will drop by 10%. So
I see.
invariably the cycle will be such, because of the stringent lending environment,
Yes.
we on our end at Starfish Training
Yep.
have actually got a team
Yep.
that tracks this.
Oh,
We track this.
interesting.
We track this because you must understand in the lending pie of the equation,
Yes.
there are a couple of segments. You have got residential,
Yeah.
you have got commercial,
Commercial.
you have got plantation, industrial, yes, all this. So we, for the moment, we are concentrating more on the industrial side.
Oh, okay.
But you'll be surprised, Mr. Tony, that because auctions are very linked to the job market,
I see.
very linked to
Okay.
the job market. So whenever there is a correction in the economy, or there are hiccups in the industry, or there's an introduction of new technologies, a lot of these borrowers, actually by virtue of the introduction of new technology, or sometimes even entire relocation of the firms to lower operating environments, creates this unemployment. So when this happens, many people generally do not really have 6 months to 1 year saving.
Yeah, true. Yes.
Because maybe due to their family commitments, their children, and all their general day-to-day expenses.
Especially our currency now is quite low. Purchasing power is really so drained.
Especially now with the GST and what have you. So this creates.
Okay.
So this way again in auction market, there are many segments.
Okay.
Many segments you would have. To quote in a Malaysian context,
okay,
you have the kancil market.
Yes.
You have the Wajah market.
Yeah.
You may have the Perdana market. You may have the Honda market.
I see.
Then you may have the Mercedes market. So in certain subsections of the market, you'll be surprised that NPL is as high as 5 to 7%.
Wow, which is quite high.
Yes, because it is very industry driven.
Okay.
Mr. Tony, you may ask me, but what has industry got to do with property values?
Why?
Yes, because these people are working in those industries.
Okay.
That's why there are certain websites like, for example, Monster.com, which track 10 principal industries. Like now at the moment, oil and gas is very low. Recently, I give you an example, Mr. Tony. There was a very nice apartment in this Monkera. Okay. Monkera is a very prime market area in Kuala Lumpur, and the average PSF down there is in the 900 range. So this was an expat rate who was earning a very good salary, and he had bought it at about 900 ringgit PSF. Then it was 4,300 per square feet. So in other words, the real market value would be about 4 million. But because many of these, nobody tracks them, they fall under the radar. I think it reached 5th or 6th auction, dropped to 400 something PSF. So a $4 million property, the value dropped to 1.9 million.
Wow.
So that's number one.
So if we buy at 1.9 million, so we can profit about 2 million?
Yes.
Really?
So that's why. Let me share with you 1-2 other examples.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, for example, there was one corner house in TR. TR actually is in Tropicana Resort, which is in Kuala Lumpur. It was a corner house. It was about 2,800 square feet.
Okay.
The market value is actually 2.2 million.
Okay.
But again, because this has fallen under the radar, the auction price the other day was 1.2 million. So there's one particular auction, personally a couple of months ago, which I handled. This house was in Alam Surya, which is in a very growth area. It's 600 square feet. The market price is 920 to 940,000. The valuation price is 840 to 860. But this reserve price was only 567,000.
I see.
I was the auctioneer there personally. Wow. And there were no takers.
No takers? Wow, such a big deal.
Yes, because you see what happens, Mr. Tony, a lot of these auctions are on weekdays.
Oh, I see.
They are
People are working,
and there is nobody who actually, with a fine-tooth comb, someone who has got experience of market values, someone who knows the difference between a good buy, a bad buy, and an ugly buy. Like for example, there could also be a lot of auctions sometimes where they take an overdraft. So the first charge could be to a bank. Then the second overdraft, a caveat could have been entered also by a bank. So we look at all this. So honestly, there are a lot of opportunities, but this is one area that needs to be demystified. But you need some experts to monitor this. So, Mr. Tony, in our lectures, our public awareness lectures, or public empowerment series, we hope to educate the investing public on the various aspects of investing in Malaysia.
I see. Which is great. So very thank you to Mr. Warwick for his sharing. I think now I understand more about what is actually is auction property. So I do believe that there is still a lot of things that Mr. Warwick wants to share with us. So in the futures, that if you have chance that if you happen to see any chances like we are posting for free sharing section, please come. This is a really very good opportunity for you to learn with Mr. Warren. I've benefited a lot personally, so I hope that more people will actually benefit from there itself.
Sure.
So okay, thank you Mr. Warren, thanks for your time. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing.